jamming, we jamming. Tell my neighbor come over. He telling me load on music. He telling me that's ain't right. The neighborhood quiet as ever. No problems to sleep at night. I tell him I love me soca. The music hot like a true love. Bring your body, come on out here. Move your body just like you don't care. We jamming it so sweet. Feel the rhythm, feel the heat. Bring your waist from walk to the soca. All our ways just jam together. I tell him it's so sweet. Feel the rhythm, feel the heat. And bring your waist from walk to the soca. All our ways just jam together. I tell him it's so nice. Change your mind and don't think twice. I tell him it's so nice. He moving the whole crowd, singing soca loud and loud. It's my neighbor, no control. He said he just can't do that. He never hear music, so I tell him that's how we do it. Bring up what's on there, let's ride. It's a lovely fetting all night. Come join and feel the vibe. I tell him just come over, enjoy yourself, no pressure. We jamming it so sweet. Feel the rhythm, feel the heat. Bring your waist, come walk to the soca. All of we just jam together. I tell him it's so nice. Change your mind and don't think twice. I tell him it's so nice. He moving the whole crowd, singing soca loud and loud. It's my neighbor, no control. The music pumping big time, man, woman taking small wine. Oh yeah, we in the street wet, we jamming, enjoying the fest. Something say look in the corner, it's my neighbor, he come over. He hand in the air, he jamming, on a bumper, hips just moving. He moving the whole crowd, singing soca loud and loud. It's my neighbor, no control. What went on, I don't know. He moving the whole crowd, singing soca loud and loud. It's my neighbor, no control. We jamming it so sweet. Feel the rhythm, feel the heat. Bring your waist from walk to the soca. All of we just jam together. I tell them it's so sweet. Feel the rhythm, feel the heat. Bring your waist from walk to the soca. All of we just jam together. Yes, my neighbor. Jamming, jamming. We jamming it so sweet. Feel the rhythm, feel the heat. Bring your waist, come walk to the soca. All of we just jam together. We jamming it so sweet. Feel the rhythm, feel the heat. Bring your waist, come walk to the soca. All of we just jam together. I tell him it's so nice. Change your mind and don't think twice. I tell him it's so nice. He moving the whole crowd, singing soca loud and loud. It's my neighbor, no control. Yes, my neighbor. We jamming, we jamming. We jamming, we jamming. Yes, my neighbor. Yes, my neighbor. I tell him come over.
Yeah, man, come on over.
Tell my
Greetings and salutations, one and all. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the night shift with DJ Kevin Steele.
he telling me that's
It's Community and Finance Night.
white as ever. No problem.
I want to welcome you all to the broadcast. Those who are locked in on TuneIn Radio.
The music hot like a true love.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
On out here, move your body just like you don't care. We jamming it so sweet. Feel the rhythm, feel the heat. Bring your waist from walk to the soca. All our ways just jam together. I tell them it's so sweet. Feel the rhythm, feel the
I want to say big ups to those who are locked in from over the waters, across the waters,
I tell them
over the lake,
change your mind and don't think twice. I tell them it's
across the pond. Yeah, over there.
he moving the
Massive over there in the UK. Top of the morning to you guys locked in on One Harmony Radio.
control.
Much love, King Genius.
Can't do that. He
Blessings.
music so I tell him that's how we do it. Bring up what's on there, let's ride. It's a lovely
I want to say much love to those who are locked in out to New Jersey on NIE Radio.
just come over, enjoy yourself, no pressure.
Locking it in with the motivator.
Feel the rhythm, feel the heat.
New Jersey's finest.
Walk to the soca, all of we just jump.
Much love to the massive out to New York.
It's so nice. Change
Hanging out on Island Worldwide, exhibiting the power of music. China Nicole, Gary, much love to you.
be moving the whole crowd, singing soca.
Blessings to those out of Long Island. Locked in on Reggae Pulse Radio.
The
DJ Atomic Force on the crew.
man, woman, taking small wine. Oh, yeah.
Blessings, blessings, blessings.
We jamming, enjoying the fest.
Much love to those who are locked in on the Foundation Radio Network, ClintonLindsay.com. With Mr. Twinkle Toes himself, Clinton Lindsay. I want to say big ups to those who are locked in on PEMG TV. And those out of Texas on Alawap Radio. Those on Dusik Media Group. Those locked in on WGLRO, home of the Donny Walker Morning Show, the People Station. With a show that takes you from the sheets to the streets, touching from Detroit to Denmark and all points in between. The Donny Walker Morning Show. Much love to you, Donny. Blessings to all my neighbors. There's one of Shelly Sweet Shells kicking us off tonight. A track called My Neighbor. I want to say thank you to my segment sponsors. Pulse Media Group and Being in a Moment is priceless. Go ahead and give them a call. They can do everything you see here on kevinstew.com and more. They'll take your videos, your photos, your streaming, your ads. You have an event you want to stream live on a secure platform, whether yours or theirs, go ahead and give them a link. So it can be a church service, a wedding, a party, a graduation, a seminar, you name it. Call them up, 754-999-1140. That's 754-999-1140. Tell them Kevin Stew sent you. Say thank you to Althea and her healing heavenly hands. Althea is a licensed massage therapist, operating out of Broad County, North Miami-Dade and South Palm Beach counties. She comes to you, bringing her table, her oils, and over 20 years massage therapy experience. Schedule your appointment today. Give her a call, 954-655-9000. That's 954-655-9000. She only has one request. That is, you get off her table and go sleep somewhere else when she's done. It's called the Kevin Stew Clause. Because I always fall asleep on her table. Thank you, Althea. When you call her up on 954-655-9000, you just say, hey, Kevin Stew said I should call you up and schedule an appointment. Thank you to Reggae Global Entertainment. Reggae Global act as your booking agents, handle your tour management, take care of your business registrations, legal service referrals, music production, marketing and promotion, and much, much more. Go ahead and give them a call, 954-804-8199. Or check them out online at reggaeglobal.com. Tell them you heard about them on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew. Hey man, all of my neighbors. Hey, listen, if you want to move from point A to point B within the state of Florida, well, your neighborhood movers are available. Call up McNeil Trucking. They're veteran-owned, licensed, and insured movers in the state of Florida. Want to move from the Keys to Jacksonville or any point in between? I just want to put some things in storage? No worries. Call them up. You don't have the manpower, you don't have the transportation, you have the name, you have the number. McNeil Trucking, 954-406-9740. With McNeil Trucking, your goods are in good hands. Tell them Kevin Stew sent you, okay? Alright, so I have a very special lady joining me real quickly. Before I get deep with Will a little bit later on. And she has an awesome event coming up this Saturday. If you haven't heard about it before, you're gonna hear about it now. Joining me by phone, my sister from another mister, the one and only Miss Melissa Jane. Millie, are you there?
Yes, indeed, I'm here.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm well, sis. How are you?
I am fantastic as well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So you got some little things going on. We haven't heard your voice on this broadcast, on this platform in a minute, but
For a minute.
you're never too far
Yeah,
away. It's because you've
that's
been
true.
busy.
I've been busy. I've been bubbling in the background. I've been working hard on a particular project,
Yes.
and that is called the Retire Ready Live Experience.
Mm-hmm. Yes. What an experience this is lined up to be. You have a bunch of speakers ready to share some knowledge with us. I have the
That's right.
picture up right now.
Oh, perfect, perfect. Let me just tell you how this came about.
Mm-hmm.
I have been doing a series online on my show for the last, it's got to be about 3 months now.
Just about.
And of course, that online experience, each week we tackle something different in the area of retirement.
Yes.
And a little way after I started it, I said, you know what? I think this information would do well, a live experience right here in South Florida. And let's just get together. And since it's sometime after the pandemic, we might just enjoy ourselves together again. This is actually going to be the third a workshop of the
Mm-hmm.
MJ workshops. So I thought I would just have this be the feature, all about retirement.
Yes.
So it's happening on this Saturday the 15th of October, 11:30 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And the speakers, let me just jump straight into the speakers because we have a really, really great lineup of speakers. They are, well, some of them, I'm just going to show you a few of them. We have a certified financial planner, that is Andrew Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to handle the financial pieces, some of the financial pieces. We also have Marlon Brammer from the Brammer Law Firm. He's going to handle the estate planning part, the wills and the trusts and our estates. Then we also have Marcel Jones. She's a community relations leader from Primary Medical Center. So she's going to be talking all about our healthcare and our wellness. And then we also have, let's pick on somebody else, Angela Thomas Price, who is a family service counselor from Dignity Memorial.
Mm.
So as you can tell by some of these professionals, we're tackling some of the areas of our lives that maybe we're not very, very comfortable talking about.
Right.
Often when we think about retirement, and it's not even really just to do with retirement, it's really to do with life in general.
Mm-hmm.
And once we start to reach the ages of maybe 40, 50, 60 and more, these are some things that we kind of need to have in place. And this is why I'm providing a platform for us to talk about these things. We have professionals talking about them. But not only are we talking about some serious things here, we've got to sprinkle in some fun elements as well. We've got to sprinkle in some joy and some fun. So we're going to move into the bonuses and the fun elements of this workshop.
Yes.
So as we've always done in my previous workshops, we're going to have raffles. We're going to have some prizes and surprises.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a great opportunity for us to network. I always like to give people their 30-second elevator pitch.
Right,
so
right.
throughout the event, we have that portion where people can just come up and just shout out their elevator pitch of their business, their product, their service, or their cause, whatever it is. And that gives the people in the room a chance to know who you are. And of course, people can just go ahead and network together.
Right, right.
Not only that, we have vendors. We have some great sponsors. And I'll tell you about those in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always full of fun. And we have some refreshments as well. And all of this is free to the community.
Wow. Free 99 for all of this?
Free 99 for all of this. I think it's a really good thing to provide the knowledge and the information.
Right.
And we're still just getting back into the swing of things as far as getting out and attending events. Everybody's trying to get out a lot more. It's a nice way to spring back into normality, I think.
Yes, yes. I'm looking forward to it. I am. The last workshop you did, I actually left with something more than just a little bit of information. No, it was a whole lot of information, really. I got this piece. I won this piece in the rally from Oral Ferguson, who does cut glass pictures.
Yes.
It's cut glass art, and he does this amazing work with broken glass. Amazing.
Absolutely amazing. Beautiful work. I mean, he's been doing such a great job with that. And that's a great segue into our sponsors. He, again, is another one of our sponsors. And he always gives a specially made piece for these events. So his art will be on display. So he's one of the vendors and the sponsor.
Nice.
And he will be giving another gift for us as part of our raffle and surprises. And let me just quickly run through all of our sponsors. And of course, before I even do that, we're going to have you there, of course, again, as our DJ, as our resident DJ, to provide the music and the audio for us. So we do thank you for that, DJ Kevin Stew.
My pleasure.
Thank you. So the sponsors, we have AutoVision Mobile Care. He's literally just around the corner from the venue, which I'll tell you where the venue is in a second. AutoVision Mobile Care, he maintains my car. He's been maintaining my car for years. We have Damit Couture Collection jewelry. Then we have Dignity Memorial. That's Angela Price. We have yourself, DJ Kevin Stew. We have Elation Unlimited. Many people may have heard of Melody Dinkin. She's our resident happy ambassador. She's also on the lineup as well. We have Heavenly Healing Hands. I think I just heard you mention Heavenly Healing Hands.
Heavenly Hands. Yes.
I always get that the wrong way around.
You see, that's because you don't use that name.
That's right. Let me change that. Then we have Fit for Your Life. That's Veronica Bortz, who is doing an event at the Broward Mall. You'll hear about that later. McNeil Trucking, you've just mentioned them as well.
Yes.
Novelty recording artist, will be hearing her music during the event. We have Howard Perry as well. He's going to be providing some music and giving some gifts as well. Paul Hibbert Sandals, formerly known as Step Right Sandals. We're rebranding. That's my husband.
That's right. That's right. Big him up. Big him up.
Big up. And Primary Medical, that is Marcel Jones again. Then we have Serendipity Counseling and Consulting. Shari Warner, she's going to be doing a special surprise piece on the event.
Okay.
The Sean Show, Sean Garrity, he's helping with promotions. Uncut Glass Pictures, as we just spoke about. South Florida Caribbean Conference. Also, Andrew Hardy, CFP, and Brammer Firm, that's Marlon Brammer. So we have a lot of supporters, sponsors, vendors, and supporters of the event. So it's going to be great.
Awesome. So looking forward to it. Once again, this is happening this Saturday, October 15, at 11:30 a.m. So it's not as early as last Saturday with Naomi Walks. So I don't have to get up as early.
Right.
But early.
I didn't mention where it was. So
yes.
the location is at Veterans Park, the multipurpose center. It's been refurbished. It's completely different than it used to be a year or two ago. So it's a beautiful space. And then the address for that is 7600 7600 Northwest 50th Street in Lauderhill, Florida. That's 7600 Northwest 50th Street in Lauderhill. So it's very, very centrally located, just off of University and 50th. Again, the admission is free. And if you'd like to register, it's not too late to register. The Eventbrite link is retirereadylive.eventbrite.com. retirereadylive.eventbrite.com.
Awesome. Thank you again, sis. And so it's a free event. You get to leave with all this information. You have the opportunity to win a raffle and walk away with a piece from Oral J. Ferguson.
Right.
You'll get music from Novelty, from Howard Perry, and some others tossed in the mix.
Yep.
And an opportunity to network.
Network, it's an opportunity to learn about some of the key topics in our lives, which are, personal finances, retirement income, healthcare, estate planning, and final planning. So if you want to learn about all of these different aspects of life, it's never too early, never too late. Even if you started late, it's a really good way to get the information in one day, and then go away and you'll have some things that you need to take care of. We mix in the serious with the fun, and all in all, it's just a great afternoon to come out, share some information, have some fun at the same time, and just get together with friends and make some new friends as well.
So, Melissa, you mentioned your broadcast, and for those who won't be able to make it to this event, because this is an in-person event, for those who can't make it to this event, you mentioned addressing some of these very same things on your broadcast. If you'd go ahead and put out when your broadcast is on for me, please.
Yes, indeed. My show is the Melissa Jane Show, and it's on YouTube. You can just find the YouTube channel just by typing in Melissa Jane on YouTube. And
you have to spell it for them because it's not spelled conventionally.
It's an unconventional spelling of the name, which is Millissa, and Jane, Jayne. I'll do that again. Millissa, Jayne. And once you get there, you will see the series. So far, there's actually probably about 8 or 9 videos in the series. If you want to follow the videos and catch up and learn all about these different topics that I've just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to continue. We're going to continue talking about this topic. It's an area which is quite vast, quite wide. So every Thursday night, I am live. Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
And we just take a different topic in this arena, and we discuss it. It's actually a research project. When I first started it, it's a research project. So all of these different areas, I've been doing research, and I'm bringing the information forward, and people can ask questions. I go back again. I research some more, and at the same time, I bring in professionals to come and assist in all of these different areas. So it's been quite eye-opening, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I can just imagine. Every time I've addressed anything to do with retirement on community and finance, it has been enlightening for me. So I'm pretty sure. And whenever I tune into your broadcast, I come away with a nugget here and a nugget there. So both your broadcast and this workshop should leave me really rich.
Definitely, and there was actually a couple of your workshop your shows that I tuned into as part of my research. Believe it or not, I remember you were talking about retiring and different places where you may go to retire.
Yes,
and I'm like, that could fit in very nicely with what I'm doing as well. So trust me, I go back and look at your archives.
I know you do, sis. I know you do. Well, thank you, Millie, for taking the time out to share with us about this event coming up this Saturday. Once again, it is the Retire Ready live experience. So come on out to Veterans All-Purpose Center at the Veterans Park on on Saturday, 11:30 a.m. So be there around about 11:15 so that you can get comfortable, find your spot, mill around a little bit, cool off, and we'll get started somewhere in there. But definitely be there for 11:30.
Yeah, that's right. If anybody has any questions or need to speak to me, my number is 954-279-3893. 954-279-3893.
Awesome. Thank you, Millie.
Thank you so much, Kevin, for the opportunity. I'll see you there.
See you there. All right. Good night. Melissa Jane. All right. So it's Community and Finance Night. And we're going to get down to some other business in just a moment. I just want to do a quick break. Waiting in the wings, my main guest for the evening, Mr. Wil Rattigan. And yeah, we'll get to know Wil. We're going to get a little bit of an insight into Wil and what Wil is doing, because he's bringing something to the broadcast world that it's the kind of thing that I grew up on in Jamaica, addressing some of those kind of issues. And we're going to see what Wil is bringing to the table as it relates to addressing some issues, and we get to hear some of his background. So call your friends, tell your friends, friends of your friends, friends of your enemies, enemies of your friends, and your enemies too, because the information will be good for everyone. Have them come back. We're going to take a quick little break. Those who are locked in on Facebook Live, those who are on Clubhouse, we're going to part company with you guys. Come on over to kevinstew.com for the entire broadcast. And you get to interact with us on kevinstew.com too. Jump into the stew pot. If you're wondering what the stew pot is, it is what others call a chat room. But because we're fancy on kevinstew.com, we have the stew pot. It's where we keep things interactive and bubbling. You don't need to register. You don't need to offer your firstborn an internal organ or a blood sacrifice. Just go to kevinstew.com and you are there. We only ask that you remain respectful. You can remain anonymous if you want, but you can put your name so I know exactly who is interacting with, and we have a personal experience. Hey, Tina Simone, how you doing? We'll be right back after these few messages.
Pulse Media Group, innovative streaming and recording, has done it again. A new way to get your business in full view of your neighborhood consumer through AdShare TV. It's available in your neighborhood today. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. Become a host today and place a TV monitor in a strategic location so it's easy to see. Get a 1-minute video ad or longer that plays anywhere in our network. Can't be a host? No problem. For a few dollars, we'll run your 30-second video ad. A host can run announcement specials like buy one get one free or discount ads. Let's turn your flyers into a 30-second video with music or a voiceover, or let us create and run your video ad with a spokesperson. Take advantage of our early enrollment discount. Join us today. Your ad will be seen at least 30 times per day in your AdShare TV neighborhood. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. AdShare TV, part of Pulse Media Group.
Entertainment in association with VPAL Distribution presents the brand new hit single.
Hi, I'm Robert French, and you're listening to my new song, Every Day of My Life.
Now available on all major digital platforms.
Every day of my life will be I just loving you. Spend the rest of my life always and just loving you. Every day of my life will be I just loving you. Spend the rest of my life always and just loving you.
I'm representing for DJ Kevin Stew, working on the night shift radio show. Won't go changing like the weather, just to please the devil never. Will DJ Kevin Stew sell his soul? That's a word and honor. It's Christine representing word and honor. Selassie DJ Kevin Stew.
I see them love. Oh yes, I see them. Lost in illusion. Lost in illusion. I see them love. Oh yes, I see them. Lost in delusion. And now they reside in the state of confusion. Why is it that my race remains poor? My race sitting on the jail floors. My race fighting to knock down doors. Same race they stole from across the shore. My race that built this great nation, still trapped on my plantation. I see them love. Oh yes, I see them. Lost in illusion. Lost in illusion. I see them love. Oh yes, I see them. Lost in delusion. And now they reside in a state of confusion. Rwanda, Haiti, down in Darfur, Jamaica, they're crying out for murder, hunger. Why can't we come together and help one another? It only takes but one to start a revolution. Please don't play into the illusion.
Want to welcome you all back to the broadcast. The sound of Nikki Blaze in the background, track called Lost in Illusion. Hubert, much love to you, bro. Come on over to kevinstew.com. We're gonna part company with those on Facebook Live right now.
Oh, I see them lost.
Call a friend, tell a friend. Friends of your friends, friends of your friends, friends of your enemies, enemies of your friends, and your enemies too. Don't leave them out, you know. Everybody has something to get tonight. Those on Clubhouse who parting company, thank you very much. Until we do it again. Hey, Will, do me a favor. Turn your camera a long way for me. Turn your phone a long way. Yeah, that's it. You fill up the screen now. You can ease it back a little bit because your face is big in the camera. Yeah, man, that's a better look. You want to bring... that's it.
I see them love.
Ladies and gentlemen, you'll see that Will is a real fun guy. Although he addresses some serious matters.
And now they reside in a state of confusion.
Those of you who want to join in, you can jump into the stew pot on kevinstew.com. Be interactive in the chat room. If you're checked in on YouTube Live, not a problem, you can comment there too. If you want to call in directly, 773-789-STEW gets you in touch. See the number scrolling across the bottom of your screen? 773-789-7839.
And now they reside in a state of confusion. I see them love. Oh yes, I see them. Lost in illusion.
I know Will liking this song, you know.
Oh yes, I see them.
That's why I'm playing it along, just for you.
Now they reside in a state of confusion.
All right. So the song "Don't Know," Will you? Yeah. All right. You got all of it now. You got all of it, right?
Yeah,
You got the message and everything, right?
yeah, man.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, he's that kind of a guy. He wants the information. So let me introduce you to him right now. Ladies, without further ado, I present to you the one and only Mr. Wil Rattigan.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Welcome to the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew. I know in the near future you'll be welcoming me to Reason with Reason with Rattigan. And we can hold a reasoning, but for now, you're going to be holding a reasoning with me. And
okay.
But before we get deep down into the whole thing, who is Wil Rattigan?
It's an interesting question. Wil Rattigan is the first and only son of Curdle and Alfred Rattigan, and 13 and Kingdom 11, Field Town and Waterhouse. Went to primary school in Waterhouse, Bambaji Primary. Went to high school at Meadowbrook. Left Jamaica back in 1977. Moved to New York. Wasn't really ready to move, but my mother, she had filed my papers and she said, "Hey, it's your turn." And when I got here, I remember I'd just gotten transferred to Woolmer's Boys School, and I was really looking. And after the first day, I walked around the block a couple of times, told her that I'd seen enough and I was ready to go back home. And she said, "Well, look, me bring you here. So if you want to go back home, work hard, save the money, and you go back home."
Right.
And going back home didn't happen for quite a while.
But working hard and saving your money did.
It took a while. Because you work in America and you spend,
Yes.
So then I went to John Jay College of Criminal Justice, finished there with a bachelor's degree, then went to Howard University Law School, and worked for New York City for a brief period as an investigator and an advocate, and then joined the FBI in 1987 and stayed there until I retired in 2017. And then since then, I've been practicing law and trying to be like you. I'm just dabbling right now. Yeah, just dabbling in the radio business.
They're trying to be like me.
And let me just say to you listening audience.
Yeah.
I call you the maestro, and for good reason, because I started this program and where it is right now is as a direct result of your involvement. So I just want to thank you for all the assistance and the encouragement you've given me so far, and I'm looking forward to more.
You're very welcome. Well, see, you already have the product, I'm just helping you to find a way to present it as you package it. So
you're too kind, man. You're way too kind.
So
you're terrible, man. You know that. Kevin asked me, Kevin was said to me, Kevin, give me like some technical terms, like just to plug in some stuff. And I said to him, Kevin, listen, you talk to an IT dunce, you know what I mean? Just think of me as an idiot. I have no idea. You have to actually let him take over the screen and show me how to do certain things. And I still not learn.
It's a process. It's a process. You'll get it. I'm not worried about you at all. You'll get it. So you went to college, went to school in New York, and then worked for the state for a while. Yes, and also was an advocate.
Yeah.
Advocate for what?
Yeah, it's New York City Human Resource Administration, and essentially what it was, welfare fraud. People that sign up with different names, they get checks on. But there's a group out of the Human Resource Administration that's charged with the responsibility of prosecuting. But it's not necessarily prosecuting. That's why they use the term advocate. You deny them benefits, or you suspend their benefits, or you curtail their benefits.
Yes.
So you would bring them in and you'd have evidence showing that they were working when they weren't supposed to work. or you had someone living in the house who, that wasn't supposed to happen, or any number of violations. And then you'd bring that, there was a hearing officer, and then you'd bring that to the attention of the hearing officer, and then a decision would be made as to whether or not they could continue receiving benefits or not.
Got you. Okay. And that sounds like quite a bit of work, because some investigation has to be done. How you gonna know that somebody is in the house that's not supposed to be there? How you know that they're working when they shouldn't be working? So yeah, your share of work is cut out for you doing that job.
Yeah, because you had to do some surveillance, and then we had to go to various agencies and collect information on the folks that we were investigating, and then kind of like put it together so that by the time you call them in, you had a pretty good idea that fraud was committed. Because if there was no fraud, you wouldn't call them in.
Right.
So, and this, when you call them in, it wasn't like, hey, are you committing fraud, or are you aware that? No, it would be like, you are. And it was interesting because when people would come in, they would say, "Oh, no, I'm not doing any of those things." And then you just, like, the TV moment, you just take out, grab the file and take out the stuff, and say, "How about this? Isn't this your signature?" Or here's a photograph of you, and this guy coming out to your house, or a video or something like that.
Right.
So,
Wow. So you have a little bit of knowledge of how to get information on people, but you took it a step further after that, and you went and worked for the FBI. Now, when I hear FBI, I can only think of TV shows and the occasional movie here or there. What was that like, working for the FBI?
I had my share of difficulties in there, and it wasn't with the policy; it was with certain people.
Okay.
Because of certain things that happened in my life.
Wait, your internet breaking up. I don't know if you're hearing me, Will. You're frozen.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear it.
For some reason, your video just froze. But all right.
I don't know what happened.
We hope that it unfreeze in just a moment. But I can hear you. So.
But can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you said you're having a little bit of trouble with people.
Yeah, you know how it is. People just, for whatever reason. I'll tell you a funny story. When I was in the academy, they'd give you, well, everyone in the academy, they gave you like a tag right where you sit, and it would say where you're from.
Right.
And that would make it easier for the instructors when they walked into the classroom. They'd say, "Hey, Mr. So and so from New York," or whatever.
Right.
And then when they heard my accent, one of my classmates said to me, "Hey," and it was a white person, and the person said, like, essentially, what are you doing here? Where you from? What are you doing here? So I said to them, well, I'm from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, and they have an exchange program where they send over officers, with who they're grooming,
right,
for bigger and better things, and then they'd come and they'd go through the FBI Academy, and then once it's done, then they'd graduate, they'd go back home. This person should have realized. I mean, when they looked at the thing above right below where I sat, it said New York, because that's where I processed out of.
Right.
And this person thought that I came from Jamaica, and the only thing about it was, when midway through the academy, you'd get what they call orders, meaning that you get your transfer, saying that you're going to California, Texas, Florida, wherever.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I walked up and I said, and I opened the letter, because you had to walk up to the front of the class and open the letter. And I opened the letter. I said, "Hey, I'm going to New York." And they looked at me like, "Oh, this guy was going to Jamaica." So that was kind of hilarious. They might not know if you could have seen the look on the person's face, But all in all, it's a rewarding experience. It's made me I think a well-rounded person, because I've served in a lot of countries. I've come across a lot of personalities, a lot of events, life-changing events too. And so you kind of get a sense of how to deal with people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, because one size doesn't fit all.
Right.
And so yeah, and so what would work in, for example, in Saudi Arabia might not work in England, or it might not work in South Africa, or it might not work in the US. So it's almost it's like you have to shift gears constantly, and especially when you're traveling a lot, like I was. So you
Mm.
deal with an Easterner today, then you deal with a Westerner tomorrow, and then depending on where in the West that person is from, your approach will be different.
Right.
So
Right. Right. Right.
and then, not to mention the skill sets. I mean, it's if you want to learn, I can't think of a better organization, and I say that with some bias because I was there for so long. But you
Yeah.
can move around a lot. I mean, you can spend 2 years in one area, 2 or 3 years, and then you just move. You just keep moving,
Mm-hmm.
and broaden your spectrum as far as the organization is concerned, and
Right.
as far
Right.
as the world is concerned. Especially if you want to travel overseas, there's a tremendous amount of opportunities there
Okay.
for that.
Um, your video is back. I'm glad to have you back. If you could just adjust your camera up a little bit for me. Uh, yeah, 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 yeah. You're going too
That's good.
far, man.
Let
Joe.
me tell you. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold
All
on,
right.
hold on. I think I might have to get something else.
All right.
Okay.
So while
How
while
about
while you're
that?
doing that, okay, nice, perfect. Yeah, yeah, that work. That
All right.
you see, people have to understand. This is not reasoning with Rattigan. Reasoning with Rattigan setup is totally different. It's a different setup you get. This is just Kevin Stew pulling him off to the side, and he's facilitating the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew and all those who are all the affiliates. Now, hey Julie, on a Monday night, I haven't seen her on a Monday night in a long time. Julie from the Truly Julie Experience airs on Saturdays on Flex FM at 1 p.m. How you doing? Julie is saying, don't be surprised if your internet freezes a few more times. I guess it's the FBI connection. I don't know. So, is it kind of
Internet. I had to call my provider,
yes?
and they actually fixed the problem like around 2 minutes before 10.
Oh wow,
So it was just, yeah,
yeah. Well, they fix ish the problem. Uh,
yeah.
yeah, we'll see if we have to call him up tomorrow because this can't happen tomorrow. But is it like what they say, or sorry, not like what they say, but how they portray it? Working with the FBI, you suit up and always in a suit, jacket
Mhm.
and tie and dark colored suit with your white shirt. Is that how it always is?
No, it depends on where you're working. If you're working undercover, and it depends on where you're working undercover, because
Mm.
I mean, if you're working undercover in with the in the trucking industry, for example, you probably wouldn't be wearing a suit. Um, but in general, if you're going to the office, yes, it's required.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Now, you mentioned being the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Was that a story that you gave them over there, or did you actually go back and be a part of the Jamaica Constabulary Force? Will? Will, you there? You see, I tell you, the it looked like you were right, Julie. It looked like you were right.
you can't hear me,
Okay, I can hear you now.
Kevin.
You went out for a moment. Your picture froze. You went out for a moment, but you're back. Okay, so
Okay.
was the Constabulary Force thing, was that a story that you gave to them because they were giving you a hard time to those people, or did you actually go back?
No, the constabulary thing was just, I felt that the person was just inquisitive, and I just felt like playing a prank
Get
on
him
the
a
person,
story.
because this was like within the first few weeks, I would say, in the academy.
Yeah. Okay, so it's just a story.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
but all in all, though, you do have this passion for things Jamaican.
Indeed.
Now we're going to talk about this passion for things Jamaican in just a moment because um, it has a big part to do with reasoning with Rattigan, reason with Rattigan, and but the attorney part, because that is a very real part of who you are. Also, you're an attorney. Talk to us. Is that so? You went to law school, and then you went and worked for the state, worked for the state of New York,
The city of New York. Yeah.
the city of New York.
Mm.
Well, you see, I have to kind of be careful because that one place so nice them name it twice. So I have to make sure which one it is that we're dealing with. If it's a city or the state. Okay, so
Right.
it's a city.
Right.
Were you working at any point using your law degrees for the city and for the FBI?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah.
Well, for the city, it came in handy because, as I said, we had hearings,
Right.
and so I represented the city. So it helped in terms of there was an investigative side, and then there was also I don't want to say it's a prosecutorial side because we weren't prosecuting anyone, we weren't putting anyone in jail.
Yeah.
But the legal side it worked hand in glove with the investigative side. And then for the FBI, at one point I went to they have a legal trainers course, and as a result of that I ended up being a legal instructor in New York.
Oh, nice.
For the yeah.
Yeah, those people that were giving you a hard time probably didn't like that much, did they? Don't call them out. Don't call them out.
They didn't really start. They didn't dislike me until much later.
We're not calling them out on it or pointing any fingers at them or throwing shade or anything. But so here you are now, and you have decided you started off saying that you want to be like me and present this thing, but you and I have had a couple of reasonings off here one-on-one, and we both share a little bit of passion when it comes to some things happening in Jamaica. But you have taken it a step further, whereas I do a broadcast that is encompasses all geographical areas. You're addressing something that has specifically to do with Jamaica, but not. You will go across the Caribbean from time to time because you're versed like that. You know, you have information, you interact with people from all walks of life. But in part, you're starting with Jamaica, home. Well, you dance a yard before you dance abroad, that kind of a thing. So let's go ahead and start with home. You have put together this broadcast called Reason with Rattigan, which will be on a Tuesday evening from 5 to 7 on Reggae Global Radio. And it will be quite similar to this broadcast, which will be which means it is a multimedia broadcast. You can watch him and you can listen to him. Your choice is yours. But what is it that you'll be addressing with Reason with Rattigan?
Well, initially, I'll be addressing the social, political situation in Jamaica. And the focus is not on politics, say, it's on people.
Yeah.
It's not on party, it's on country. And when I say people, I'm talking about the marginalized, primarily poor people. and the fact that service delivery is woefully inadequate in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I feel so passionate about it is because I came from that group and I know what it's like not to have. And I'm still in touch with those people. So it's not a thing where, for me, it's just reporting.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's deeper than that. Like I've said to several people that this is not coming from here. It's coming from deep within my.
Right. See,
Hello?
you're cutting out again. I think I need to let your friends know that this is not you talking any of the nation's secrets or anything like that. It's not about. We're not exposing anything. No cabals. No, nothing like. No, no,
No, no,
no.
no, no,
This is not
no.
that kind of a broadcast, guys. This is just a reasoning with Rattigan.
Right,
So you can.
right.
We are right over here, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
um.
Like I was saying,
Yes.
it's deeply passionate about it, about the living conditions, the economic conditions, law and order, and so on and so forth, particular for poor people.
Yes.
And so I think in terms of being a voice for the voiceless, or to some degree a voice for the ignorant, because ignorant meaning that they don't
They don't
know.
know. Right. But here you are.
What's going on?
Here you are, though, in the United States, addressing things happening in Jamaica. There are some that would say, but you are not here. You are not in it. So, why should we even want to listen to you?
So good. That's a fair point. They should want to listen to me because, particularly for those who don't know, they don't understand, they don't know what's going on, and because of my skill set, I don't pretend to have the answers to everything.
Right.
But what I do know is that there are some things going on that need to be questioned, and people in Jamaica, for one reason or another, they're reluctant to do so. And again, I don't care about party or government. You can vote. All I say to them is, I will present the facts to you, and then you vote for whoever you think is the best candidate for your self-interest.
Right.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, voting, that's between you, the booth, your God, and your candidate. I have nothing to do with that. But if you have a candidate who's been serving you, or who you've been electing for 15 years, and you still don't have roads, you still don't have good schools, you still don't have housing, you still don't have jobs, you still don't have good medical facilities, you still don't have a standard of living, then maybe it's time for you to start looking elsewhere.
Wait. No, it's not the time for you to break up, Will. No, it's not the time for you to break up. I go. No, okay, cool. So I think you're back. Say that again. If you have a candidate that has been what?
That has been, you have elected, and the person has been serving, and I use serving in quotation marks, serving you for 15 years, 20 years, and you don't have service delivery, meaning that the roads are still in bad shape,
Yes.
schools are in poor shape, you have dilapidated housing, your economic situation is stagnant or worse than before, and your standard of living is just basically non-existent. At some point, what I'd like to do is to expose what's going on, so that you can be an informed voter the next time you go into the ballot box, when you go to the booth, and also make it known to your representative that, listen, you've promised us A, B, D, F, G. You haven't given us anything. We're making a change. And so it shouldn't have anything to do with party. It should have to do with production. What have they produced for you? If they haven't produced, then you need to let it go. My thinking is that there should not be this idea of safe streets. as they call them in Jamaica, or garrison seats, where, the people vote for a particular party because their parents voted, their parents before that voted, and so on and so forth. And so the entire neighborhood vote for this person, even though the party and the person aren't doing anything for them, they continue to vote. Don't be a slave.
You see, they're messing with us again, Will. They're messing with us again.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes. Don't be what now?
Yeah, I'm trying to get people not to be a slave to the system. So
yes.
That, I'm trying to get them to take the scales off of their eyes so that they can see what's going on. And I tell you what, numbers are powerful. And if people start getting together in groups and they start making their voices heard and start talking to these politicians and say, look, if you don't fulfill your promises, we're gonna vote against you. You would see a sea change in Jamaican politics, but that's not going on. So every journey starts with the first step, and this is my first step into that arena to make people aware of what's going on and to make them better informed judges of people attempting to represent them.
Have you been in a position where you've had the opportunity to address any of these leaders directly?
Yeah, I've actually spoken to the present Prime Minister, and I've actually spoken to the leader of the opposition about a variety of issues, particularly, the main issue in Jamaica right now, which is crime.
This was recently you spoke with them, or over a period of time?
I spoke with the PM about 4 years ago, and I spoke with the leader of the opposition about this year, actually. This year.
I see. So you've been in communication and have ways to communicate to these individuals. And you see, I ask you that because I want people to have an understanding of where you're coming from with trying to open the minds and peel away the rose-colored glasses from in front of people's eyes. Because here's the thing. For years, and this is something I grew up in, I have heard the stories of promises. I've heard the promises. I've seen where here comes election time, and election time is coming up, even if you're not paying attention. Me as a child didn't pay attention to what year it was or anything like that to know election coming up. But I knew it was coming up because all of a sudden roads started to get fixed. And this has always been the thing. Mm-hmm. The roads get fixed. And it is whomever it is that is fixing the road that seem to get the attention the most, because people complain about potholes and but for 3.5 years the roads have been bad, and all of a sudden it's time to vote and now we have good road, and a year and a half later the very same road that was fixed is damaged again, but it's not going to get fixed again until election time. And this has happened over and over and over again for years. I grew up seeing it, and I'm pretty sure it is still going on today.
Mm-hmm.
So, if generationally people in Jamaica have been doing this, you think they're really gonna listen to you presenting reason to them?
I think that yes, and I'll tell you why. I'm hopeful, because otherwise, there. If you think about it in terms of for generations, there's a cycle, and therefore I can't make a difference. So I'll just leave it alone, and things get worse. But if you never know. You start and say, "Look, I'm trying to break the cycle." And the thing about it is that I'm not speaking about the situation in an academic fashion. Right? I'm speaking about it as one who's lived it, right, and one who continues to support people living in it, in that in that position. So I'm hopeful that when I speak to them, and I speak to them in language that's easy to understand, no highfalutin language, because I'm from the streets, I'm one of them. And so
Yeah.
you speak to them and you appeal to them from that perspective. Because here's the thing, most of the time, or a significant portion of the time, I find that when people from overseas, or even in Jamaica, when they're appealing for when they're appealing for something to be fixed, or they're appealing for assistance, they go to like the top 10%, right? So you're talking about titans of industry,
Yeah.
you're talking about uh, people of influence and of the elite, and you're talking about government officials, right?
Yes.
And what happens? Nothing gets done. So what my show is designed to do is designed to go after like the bottom 80%, the people who are
Here you are cutting out again. And let me see if I can do some filling in until I can hear you again. I don't know if you can hear me. I am hoping that you're going along the lines. From my reasoning, I'm getting that you're going along the lines of reaching the 80% who are at the grassroots level, who should be the ones who have their feet on the ground. They're the ones putting the shoulders to the wheel for the most part. I'm hoping that was what you were getting at. Are you back with me yet? And can you hear me? I might have to switch it to a telephone call, no Will, because I want to hear what it is that you are pitching for your broadcast on Reggae Global Radio on Tuesdays. Let me see if okay, so this is giving us a hard time. The connection here, we're gonna have to call your ISP in the morning. Will, are you back?
You can't hear me?
Okay, you're back.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. You're back. So here's
Hmm.
here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call you up. In fact, you can call me right now because your picture is still frozen. I can hear you, but your picture is still frozen. So in order to
You can't hear
avoid
me?
this, yeah, man, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you now, and your
Hmm.
picture just freed up, just free up. All right. So, but what I want to do is switch this to a telephone call,
Okay. Okay.
and that way we won't get the interruption or the fluctuating internet service.
So you want me?
All right. So as we wait on Will to join us back by phone, let me call him before he calls me. That way, we can hear what it is that he's proposing.
Yeah, Kevin.
All right, I have you back now.
Mm.
So anybody that want to see that handsome face is going to definitely now have to tune in to Reason with Rattigan at 5 o'clock tomorrow, 5 o'clock on Tuesdays on Reggae Global Radio, 5 p.m. Eastern. So, all right. So, Will,
Yeah.
you were saying you were trying to reach the 80%, and that
Yes.
80% does what?
They are the expanding low class and the middle class, the virtually non-existent middle class now. There are people who are suffering.
Okay.
People who they're not in a position to make any decisions about their destiny, except through the power of the vote. Because when you talk to the people in charge, look, the rich people can take care of themselves, right?
Right.
Anywhere around the world.
Right.
The
Right.
middle class is shrinking in Jamaica. And you have the poor people, they've been voiceless for decades, maybe from time immemorial in Jamaica. People don't listen to them. And they've kept them in the dark. And so, what I'm trying to do, along with I have some colleagues who are doing something similar,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been at it longer than I, is to awaken their senses, it's to open their eyes, it's to educate them about what's going on, it's to provide them with the confidence to ask questions. You give them the facts, right? And
Yes.
so they, armed with that, with those facts, they can actually ask proper questions. Because far too often we see where they don't ask questions, or they ask questions that they ask questions, and then that they ask questions that are not really pertinent, and then sometimes they get answers that are deflective. They really don't. Even when they ask, sometimes they'll ask a good question, but the answer is, the answer is deflected, and so they don't know to ask a follow up question. So, what you try to do is you try to give them the facts, and then you try to give them a method by which they can ask their questions intelligently, and if the answers are not forthcoming, then they can follow up. But the important thing is to galvanize them, um, so that when they speak, they'll speak with one voice. It's just not one person who will be seen as a troublemaker. It's a lot of people gathering, and they're saying the same thing. That's dangerous for a politician. If one person is outspoken, that's fine. They know how to deal with that one person. But when you have many people, when you have communities now, and then they can say, look, you know what? This person is not the best candidate for us because we're not getting the services that were promised. And so we're willing to move on and do something else. But you cannot just say, I'm not going to vote, or you vote for the same people and you get the same results all the time. You can't do that. And once they know that you have reached a point where you're just so fed up and tired, and that you're informed, then you start seeing some things happening.
So you think a big part of the issue that we're dealing with in Jamaica is being informed?
Part of it is being informed. And when I say informed, it's not only telling them about facts, but also providing solutions. It's also saying that if this is your issue, here are a few options. Here are some things you should discuss with your representative or whomever. But you need to do something. You can't just sit back and have people just bombard you with nonsense day in, day out, and you do nothing. You can't surrender to that type of behavior. You have to be active. And that's what I'm trying to get people to do, to be active. To be active when they examine things. And when they examine things, they have to be critical about how they examine things. And that politicians are fearful of that. They're fearful of people who ask the right questions. Because they want you to either not ask questions or ask some stupid questions where they can just give you some prepared answer. And you go, oh, okay, all right, fine, no problem. So what I'm trying to do in a nutshell is to inform and also provide solutions. Educate and provide solutions.
So you're saying people for a long time have been asking the wrong questions, basically, of their
I think,
politicians?
yeah, because either they ask the wrong questions or
They're not
they're not
asking questions at
forceful.
all.
Exactly, or they're not forceful enough. And the thing is, I know they're ready because I tell you what, now people are actually talking, and I'm getting feedback. People are saying, "Oh yeah, the boy Rattigan there, the man Rattigan, the boy, I give him a warm time, mothers, and yeah, it makes sense, blah 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 blah." And like I'm hearing it, whereas before, didn't I never heard it.
Right,
And
right, right.
like I tell people now, I said to them, "Look, I'm not doing this because of some ulterior motive, or I'm gonna get remuneration out of this. I'm doing this because I feel that I am not a success until I can transfer the things that I've heard, things that I've learned, the things that I've experienced on to you guys. And then you can use it to create a better environment, not only for yourselves, but for your children. Until that day, I'm not a success. I have to get through to these people. It's gonna be a lifelong passion. And the thing is, I'm prepared for the long journey. So I'm not gonna be disappointed if two people listen, because I'm supremely confident that a year from now we'll have a lot more than two people, and the word is gonna spread. And so that's another thing. We're trying to get it circulated in Jamaica so that people can actually listen and they can understand.
Well,
And
I'll tell you this, Will. I'll tell you this right now. If you reach one person, you have done your job.
there you go. There you go.
And that's how I look at it when I do my broadcast. You won't be able to reach everybody.
Right.
But if you reach one, you've done your job, because that one has somebody that will listen to them. And everyone has one person at least that will listen to them. And as long as you're reaching those ones, then it all adds up.
And you know what? So you mentioned that because we now know that the government is listening to us, because I come on a program on Tuesday mornings. There's a friend of mine, he's on Roots FM. The program is called Make We Talk. His name is Jeffrey Tavares. And we come on, and his listenership, it's not where it should be, but we now know that the government is listening to, because we've gotten feedback from people who have been called in by the government for a variety of things. Yeah, people who have appeared on the program and they've been called in by the government, and so we know that they're listening.
Right.
So that's good. We just need to have more people listening, but that takes time, and I'm in no rush.
You need not be. You need not be, because here it is, you're providing an excellent option in that you're getting people to pay attention to what is happening. You're telling them to listen. You're telling them to use their voices, because that's the other thing. When you have people not using their voice, then it all goes to waste.
Exactly.
And so here's how now we move away from the waste. We help them to formulate their questions, which is what I think you're presenting at this point. You're helping them from a point of being a Jamaican, and even when you are expanding out of Jamaica, being a part of grassroots people, because it doesn't really matter where it, and I can say this from my interactions with you. It doesn't really matter the fact that you're an attorney. It doesn't really matter that you worked for the FBI for 3 decades. It doesn't matter what colleges and universities you went to, or where you currently live, or the places that you travel to. At the end of the day, you're still Rattigan, the grassroots guy.
Exactly.
And the things at grassroots level bother you. But because of the skill set that you have, it puts you in a position to influence people who are in a position that you can relate to present their argument in a way that will be beneficial to them.
I don't think I can improve upon what you just said, really. I mean, that encapsulates everything that there is about what I'm trying to do and who I am. In fact, I'll tell you something. Where I'm from, they don't have anybody like me. They don't. I mean, growing up, I never had anybody like me, to say, okay, this person's gonna be my mentor, at least in my neighborhood.
Right.
My neighborhood. We didn't have anybody. And the people who managed to escape the poverty and the degradation and all of the things that go along with that, they never look back. They never look back. They left, and that was it. They're like, hey, I'm glad I escaped, and now I'm gonna go make it on my own, and
wish you all the best.
All the best. Yeah, I wish you all the best. Yeah. But I just say, and I used to be a part of a group in the diaspora that we would criticize Jamaica and say, oh yeah, them people, we used to refer to them people. And at one point I said, well, wait a minute, I talk about myself, because I still have relatives living there, I still have friends living there, and I still feel like I'm a part of that community. And I said, well, wait a minute, I'm not an economist, I'm not a geologist, but I know a little bit about, the criminal justice system, and they're in dire need of that kind of assistance. So let me see how I can provide assistance. And I offered self and service 3 times I applied for the police commissioner's position, and 3 times I was wrongly rejected. But that didn't stop me. And no, you have people say to me, hey, or they say to friends of mine that, yeah, it's sour grapes and they'll never get the job, so that's why you might do all of this now. And my answer to that is, if what I'm saying is the truth, then whether or not I applied for the job, that has nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm lying, then you can say, "Oh, he's just making up stories because he didn't get the job." But if what I'm saying is significant and truthful, then it doesn't matter. The second thing is that sometimes I'll say to them, "You know what? You're right. I'm pissed off I didn't get the job because you know what? If I had gotten that job, you and I would
Things
not
will
be
be
having this
different.
conversation. Yeah, you and I would not be having this conversation about crime in Jamaica because guess what? You would wake up one morning and half of the government would be missing, and you'd look on CNN and you'd see them coming off a plane in handcuffs because all of the people who have been stealing, the corruption, the this, the that, the that, I personally would investigate them and they would be gone. So, yeah, I'm pissed off that no, here it is now. I have to try and come at it from a different angle, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's about cleaning up the society. And people have said to me, "Oh, you'll never be able to do it." And look, I've seen some countries where people said the same thing, and things change. It just takes the will of the people. That's it.
You think Jamaican people are right now willing to make that change?
I think they're moving in that direction because I've heard some things which I can't tell you. I'll tell you when I see you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I've heard some things, over the weekend, and if you look at the geopolitics, you'll
Mm-hmm.
see that Jamaica has every reason to be concerned about what's going on in Jamaica, and people are speaking out right now. I'll give you an example. Look at the what the government recently did when they bulldozed that community.
Yes.
People are talking like it's going out of style, and they're not. There are some people who are very, very courageous. They come out and they're
Mm-hmm.
not hiding, and
Yeah.
they're challenging the government, saying what you did was wrong. What you did was wrong because you've disrupted people's lives, and you have made no preparations
Mm-hmm.
for the aftermath of what you did. No preparation at all. And so now people are struggling for trying to find places to live. I mean, this is not Jamaica. This is not the Jamaica. This that we. I mean, we grew up in poverty and all that, but not this, where people come in and just bulldoze your home. And then the
Yes.
reason, the reason for it just keeps evolving. First it was, oh, these people are squatters,
Mm-hmm.
along with their criminals are living in there. And then after that happened, the prime minister showed up and he said, no, 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 you people are all decent people. I'm just doing this so I can improve your community. And they said, well, wait a minute, we didn't ask you to improve our community. And not only that, they have lots of other communities in Jamaica that you could go improve before this one. Why use us as a guinea pig?
Right.
Another thing is that, okay, you've displaced us. Well, where are we supposed to live now? And the houses that he's talking about, they won't come online for another 5 to 8 years. So in the meantime, what are these people going to do? Plus, he's telling them that, oh, um, I'm gonna give you 15,000 housing for 15,000 families, and you're gonna have roads and sewer system and electricity and running water,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna have to go get a mortgage to own one of these homes.
Right.
And these people, they don't qualify for a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
They don't qualify for a mortgage. So the first thing is that they're gonna have to wait 5 to 8 years. And you know how the construction business is. When they tell you 5 to 8, it's more like 8 to 12, right?
Right. Right.
And so by the time they put these homes up, then these people they're somewhere else. So he's actually building. If he's gonna build, he's building for some other people. That's if he's still in power. He's building for somebody else. So it's a farce. It's a farce. So and now, getting back to the point we're discussing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
people are talking.
Yes.
People are talking about it, and if you put that in perspective with what's going on in around Jamaica territorially, and you
Mm-hmm.
realize that it's getting to be a very concerning situation.
Do you have friends in neighboring countries that are experiencing similar situations and will also be addressing their situation in the
Well,
future to come?
I don't have the friends that I have in those countries. I haven't seen those people for a long time. I don't even know if they're there. But I have a colleague who
Mm-hmm.
works for the Caribbean Institute. He does the security portfolio for them out of Washington D.C. And
Mm.
his job is to liaise with all of these people. So he's very well versed in
Got you.
Caribbean issues, CARICOM issues. So he's going to be a regular on the program. And in fact, he and I, we had dinner. We had dinner on Saturday night, and we did a program last night. So we're very close. And in
Nice.
fact, every year they do a program for a 1 week program um, for the U.S. Congress.
Yes.
And so they get people from all different Caribbean islands to come on and do presentations. And every year I'm asked to chair of one of the committees,
Right.
and I gladly do it
Yes.
every year, the one on crime. So yeah, I'm very involved with them. And as far as what's going on with the other islands, we'll be inseparable.
Awesome. Awesome. So, whereas you're starting at home, this will pretty much cover the Caribbean. And, you know, my mind is one of great hopes and aspirations. And if the issue as it is in Jamaica, and I will call it as it is, it's a real issue. If these issues can be sorted out in Jamaica, then we would be a whole lot more than a tourist destination.
Yes.
And by way of association, I see the Caribbean becoming a whole lot more than just that. And it would improve the chances of more of a Caribbean community, whereas an economy will grow within the Caribbean. Even if they're not using one currency, it will be in such a position where the governments will be able to work together in such a way that those who are not from the Caribbean doing business with the Caribbean know that once you're doing business with one, you get to do business with all. And so the Caribbean itself will grow, which will improve conditions in places like Haiti by association. And that's how I see it. I don't know if I'm just hopeful, like a hopeless romantic kind of a hopeful, but I don't know. Is that so far-fetched?
No, it's not far-fetched. The only problem is that we have a bunch of corrupt leaders, and so we have to get rid of them. They don't have the people's interest at heart. They go in, and they may have gone in with good intentions, but somewhere along the line, corruption seeps into their life, and it becomes it becomes a major part. It becomes a lasting part of their personality, and so you find that a lot of these leaders, they have investments, bank accounts, unexplained wealth in the U.S., Canada, the U.K., and elsewhere.
Right.
And so one of the things that I'm very, very interested in is to go back and look at donor funds, the idea of donor funds and funds coming from donor countries and donor organizations like the UN, the EU, the US, UK, Canada, and look to see how much was donated, the purpose of those funds, whether or not the monies were spent in total for the project, and if not, where did the money go? Who's in charge of it? Who's got accounts overseas? And it's caused a stir down in Jamaica because I said it on a program, and I got some feedback saying that people are worried because in Jamaica they have a law that says, for financial disclosure for politicians, parliamentarians. But what people don't know is that you are required to submit your financial disclosure. But if you don't, you get fined, and the fine is minimal. So what they do is a lot of them just pay the fine.
Just pay the fine.
Exactly. Just pay the fine.
All right. Now, would you be able to get that information though? I'm suspecting that should be public information, and by way of requesting it, as a member of Joe Public, we should be able to see it. But you're a foreign national.
Well, one of the ways of doing it is you develop sources. People who are actually embedded in those agencies, and they can tell you that, listen, X amount of money came in for a particular project, and Y was spent, and the rest of it went to this person. Here's a good example.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this is alleged because he hasn't been convicted. Royal Reed, right, former Minister of Education. Between Royal Reed, allegedly, between Royal Reed and the permanent secretary, well over, I think, over 100 million Jamaican dollars disappeared, right? And there is proof so far that his helper was involved, in the sense that unwittingly, or that she had an account open and money was transferred into her account, and she was responsible for withdrawing the funds and providing it to him. Right? So we have that lead already. The problem with it, though, is this. If you look at the number of scandals for both parties, PNP and JLP, it's a lot. And then you ask yourself this question: how many people have gone to prison for corruption, for waste, fraud, mismanagement, malfeasance? How many people have actually gone to prison? Zero. If you look at the scandals, if you just start counting them between both parties, it's a lot. A lot. And nobody has gone to prison. And a lot of these funds, if they had used these funds for the betterment of the country, Jamaica would be much, much better than where it is right now. Jamaica has so much potential. They talk about, children are our future. And I said, that statement is unfinished. Future what? Because at this point, it's like children are future criminals. Because the monies that should be used to educate our young, it's been used to line the pockets of the politicians and others. And that's why, you find that there are no resources there. So teachers have left in droves.
Yes.
And people are now teaching who ordinarily would not be allowed to set foot in a classroom. And now they're in the classroom teaching. So you can just imagine what education is.
All right. So here's my reasoning behind this. Dumb down the people. In a nutshell, that's my reasoning. Because here it is. If you have a set of people that are sheeple, then it puts you in a position to manipulate them whichever way you want to. And you will always have money in your pocket and not get prosecuted for it, which is exactly what we've been seeing for, pretty much all my life. I've been around 4.5 decades. This is what I have seen all my life.
And that's why a program like Reason with Rattigan is so important, because instead of, on one hand, they're trying to dumb down the people, and I'm trying to educate the people. Right? And if it works, it's going to be successful for all of Jamaica, not just one segment of Jamaica. It's going to be successful for everybody.
All right, so let me ask you a question. You used the example of Royal Reed just now, and I'll continue calling his name as long as we're on, and I'm using this example because I want people to remember Royal Reed. And I remember hearing about this story some time back with the helper thing. With talking about it, how do we get action to be taken on it?
Okay, good question. Here's I wouldn't, and I'm not going to suggest people follow my line of thinking, but I personally wouldn't place a high degree of confidence in the Jamaican justice system. And that's based on its track record, right? Where politicians don't go to prison. The cases get buried, files get lost, witnesses witnesses, the memories fade,
Right.
the evidence disappear, right? So instead, what we're trying to do is to make a connection with how the money is transferred out of the country. Now, if we can prove that Royal Reed, if we can prove it that he stole money from either
Jamaica.
donor funds or from the public coffers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that he transferred those funds and those funds touched the American banking system.
Mm-hmm.
And in most cases, if
Or
you're
any foreign
transferring funds
banking
out of
system.
no, US. We'll start
Okay.
with the US.
Okay.
And in most cases, if you're transferring funds out of Jamaica, it's going to touch a US banking system, even if it's going some other country, it's going to touch a US banking system somewhere along the line because it's a vast system and a
Right.
lot of people use it, right?
Right.
And so if it touches it, guess what? The US government has jurisdiction to investigate and prosecute because they're trying to protect the integrity of their banking system. So ill-gotten gains, if they can prove that, ill-gotten gains. In fact, there is an international corruption squad. The FBI has
Yes.
an international corruption squad in LA, New York, DC, and Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And their primary job is to do exactly what I just described to you, is to investigate people overseas, people in a foreign country, sending ill-gotten gains somewhere else where it touches the American banking system.
Mm.
And once it does that, then they have jurisdiction to investigate and to prosecute. So that's a group of us. We're planning to use that strategy. We're saying we're not going to depend on the Jamaican justice system to render justice in these cases because they have a track record of just dropping the ball on these cases.
Right.
Whether it's the DPP or the courts or investigators or whomever. But we know for a fact that despite the tremendous number of scandals that nobody has been to prison, right? And we know that things in Jamaica, they have a short shelf life.
Yeah.
They're on the shelf and after 4 or 5 days, something else, something else is newsworthy. And then that story
Right.
that you were working on
Disappears.
disappears. Right. But if we can get information and we can provide it to the U.S. government, now that's what they're really afraid of because tied to that is this: visas.
Mm.
They love politicians in Jamaica. They love to come to Miami for a weekend to show off,
Yes.
Tell their
Yes.
friends, hey, I'm flying up to see John and, we're going to go on his yacht and
And
we're
their
going to have
children come to school in the United States.
Exactly. They're afraid of that. So once you and the U.S. government, they don't have to take away a visa. The person does not have to be found guilty in any trial. It just says the law says that if the consular officer has reason to believe that the person is involved in money laundering or drug smuggling or whatever, then they can revoke the visa. And that's what they're afraid of. That's one of the things they're afraid of. They're also afraid of going to prison, of course. But
Yes.
they can shield themselves, in Jamaica, pretty well. Especially if it's not for murder, they can do that. But they know that if they can't come to America, it's like the kiss of death. They might as well just die because Jamaica's a small place, and if it's known that hey, this man I can't travel because of this and that and that and that, then people kind of like want to shy away from you,
Right.
Because they don't want to be tainted either.
Right.
So that's one of the ways we're looking at dealing with the problem from the outside. Because I know cases where people did background investigations on a bunch of politicians, and they turned it over to authorities in Jamaica to
And
know
nothing.
of it. Nothing.
And you see, I'm avoiding getting too deep with our discussion because I want that to remain on Reason with Rattigan. I don't want to take anything away from your broadcast, and I want people to come over there so that they can ask you these questions as it relates to what it is that you're trying to do.
You have to help me set up the phone line tomorrow.
Oh, your phone will start out, but don't worry. The phone will be
I got
ready.
the stuff today. I got everything today.
Excellent. So your phone will be ready. for tomorrow night, because tomorrow
Right,
evening,
right.
because if nothing at all, I know I have some points and some questions that I want to present, and I don't want to present them
Fair enough.
here
Fair enough. Fair enough.
because they're for you and for your broadcast. But some of them you've already heard because you and I have spoken about them.
True.
And albeit we were having nice, good, easy conversation which led down this rabbit hole of Jamaican politics.
Right.
And there it went. But what it is that you have embarked on, Will, I wish you all the best. It
Thank
is
you.
a great benefit to Jamaica and Jamaicans, even if they don't know it yet, even if they don't want to admit it, because they are so tainted and caught up in the what do you call it, chicken back and whatever it was that they got come election time.
Right.
You know,
Right.
the scarce benefits and spoils argument. You know, the when election time come around and you get a little bit of an extra something.
Right. No, it's terrible.
But
I'm sorry to interrupt. And
yeah,
I'm gonna add another thing to your listening audience for them to come over tomorrow and listen to some of the things I'm saying. The main topic tomorrow is is the JCF equipped to fight crime in Jamaica, or have they been given a basket to carry water?
I
And we're
saw
gonna
that.
Right. And we're going to go in and we're going to talk about deficiencies and who's responsible and all of this stuff. And sometimes, the solution isn't the problem. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to go too far. Yeah. If you when you look at this, when you look at the problem tomorrow, you'll see that the solutions are right there. They're right there.
A lot of my solutions to Jamaican problems seem to be too simple for it to be legitimate, but the complexity lies within its simplicity, apparently. And
Hmm.
so the easiest answer is usually the simplest one.
True. True.
And it's just a way to make that simple answer work. And for Jamaica, it is really simple, and but it is really difficult.
I mean, if you look at some of the studies that have been done on crime in Jamaica, we really shouldn't have any crime. I mean, if you look at some of these, they're like treatises. If you look at some of these things, I mean, they're very detailed and comprehensive.
Mm,
So the problem is not the idea. The problem is the implementation of the idea, and
right.
that goes to leadership. That goes to people. And if you remove some of those folks and replace them with competent, qualified, dedicated people, you will get the results that you desire. But as long as you have a good plan, but you have people who cannot effect it, then it makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Perpetual cycle of nothingness.
Exactly.
There's nothing
Exactly.
getting done.
Nah, I mean, if you look at some of the stuff, I have some of them here, and I mean, they're well written. I mean, I've seen stuff all over the world, and I mean, this is like first class.
Yeah.
And then you say, okay, well, we have some benchmarks in some of these documents. And you say, how many benchmarks have we met? None. you know, you say, how many of these things have you really, how many of these things have you have been transferred to where they should be transferred? Ideas and resources. None.
None.
And then when you look and you say, okay, well, I'm gonna get money from Germany, the EU, China, Japan, um, uh, the UK, Canada, the US, several countries in Africa. Where did that money go?
Hmm.
Where did those resources go? And people they have no answer. And the more they lie, and whenever they try to come up with an answer, right? Whenever they try to come up with an answer, it makes the problem worse.
Yes, yes. So let me ask you this. Before we wrap things up tonight. These documents that you have, will you be presenting any of them on your broadcast?
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing. These are not classified documents by no means.
My goodness.
These are documents that you can get online. The problem is that people don't read.
What?
People don't read. These are documents you go online, a simple Google search. If you put the right query in, you'll get all of these documents. And so once you start reading it, and so what? That's another thing. We meaning Jamaicans, we've gone from. You remember one time everybody want to read the newspaper, right? Now everybody want to get news instantly through Instagram,
social media.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is that you have to go where people are. So you can't really tell them go read this because you're not going to. You have to read it for yourself, digest it, and then tell them what it is. Then if they're interested, they go look, or they'll use your information as the gospel. So they'll say, well, Rattigan said this and that and that and that, and then they'll run with it, right?
Well,
But
go ahead.
But they're not going to. They're not going to read. But it's and I'll give you another example. Kamina Johnson Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade.
Yeah.
She got involved in a scandal the other day regarding her unsuccessful bid to become the Secretary General of the Commonwealth.
Mm-hmm.
And the government tried to, through the spokesman, tried to misrepresent. And I said tried to because he didn't. People could see right through it. And the documents are there. Now, those documents, you get them here in the U.S. If you just file under the Freedom of Information, you can get just about anything.
Right.
And I have a friend who did, and he got the document, and he shared it with me. And the things that they were saying in Jamaica at the press conference, well, press conference is, and when I looked at the document, I go, wait a minute, this is not what the document says. But people don't read. So then you have to read it now, and then you have to break it down and reveal it to the public, saying, hey, what they told you at the press conference
is
not exactly true. Exactly. Because here's what the document says. The document says this, and they're saying that, and it's not true. So, and also people don't take advantage of the fact that there is in the U.S. they have freedom of information.
Right.
There's something in Jamaica called access to information. I think that's what it's called, where you can petition the government for documents, and there's certain exceptions to them giving the documents to you. One of them is like national security. One is the economic security. One is the threat to someone's life, whatever, danger to someone's life. But in the main, they'll give you the documents. I don't think a lot of people have explored that opportunity to get documents from the government. And the government is required to give you the documents within 30 days. If they cannot, they can ask for an extension, making it 60. But then after that, they have to give you, because if they don't, then you can go to court and have the court force them. And if it's an exception, they should be able to tell you that, well, somebody's going to die if we give you this information. But if I ask for Kamina's to see whether or not she filed that the government received a gift and who gave the gift, nobody's going to die from that. So they should be able to give that. Nobody's going to die as a result of finding out who gave money to her candidacy. Nobody's going to die.
Their ego, their lavish lifestyle. Hey, come on now. But you're a better man than I, because if you're going to find all this information and regurgitate it to the people for them to be able to feed on it, you're a much better man than I, because I give some information because I can't find all of it, and I let people know my job here is to stimulate your appetite, not satisfy your hunger. So if you're hungry enough, you need to go and find the information. I can't tell you where you can go get it, but you need to go put in some legwork.
Right. Well, in that sense, I think you're right. because I'm trying to satisfy their hunger. I'm not just whetting their appetites. I'm satisfying their hunger because some of these people they're hungry and they have no choice. Some of these people they
But you see,
don't
the difference is they don't know where to get the food.
exactly. And the other thing too is that there are people in Jamaica who are producing the same kind of information I'm producing, except that they're doing it at a much higher level. So that will only appeal to the educated and the elites. So the
Ah,
ordinary guy in the street, when some of these people speak, they don't understand.
yes, yes, yes. Good point. Good point.
You know.
Which is
So
another reason why you are the man for the job.
well, thank you, thank you. You know, and I've gotten, I must say, thanks to all of the supporters. I mean, there are detractors, and I tell people that look, there will be detractors, and that's fine. But I
And
tell my
rightly so.
detractors, yeah, I tell them, I say, listen, if you're going to criticize me on the facts. Don't tell me you don't like me because of this or you know,
You don't
fox
live
and
in
grapes.
Jamaica.
So what? But yeah, I mean, oh, that's another one because I said to them, look, if the criteria is to that the criteria to criticize what's going on in Jamaica is that you live in Jamaica, then guess what? You should tell us keep your your remittances. We don't need your remittances in
Yes.
Jamaica, which by the way is over $3 billion last year, right? That was the single most source of foreign exchange. If that if they don't have that, the country is going to collapse because tourism alone cannot support Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot. So I tell them, so if you're telling me that I shouldn't be involved in it, I said, well, first of all, last time I checked, my birth certificate said born in Jamaica, and in Jamaica, you to renounce Jamaican citizenship, it's an ordeal. You have
Yes.
to go to the Ministry of National Security. You have to do a whole bunch of things, right? So I said to them, last time I checked, I'm Jamaican, and
Mm-hmm.
if you're telling me that I can't criticize, you know, or I can't render applause because somebody did something good simply because I don't live in the country, that's nonsense.
Right.
Um, that's nonsense. So I don't pay attention to people. In fact, the first broadcast, I kind of like dealt with those issues, and I said to
Yes.
people, not going to deal with this again. So if somebody should ask me, I say, hey, look, you know what? Go look at the first broadcast and then
There you
take a
go.
listen to what we said, and that's it.
There you go. Reason with Rattigan. Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Eastern, Reggae Global Radio. You don't want to miss it, people. This is Wil Rattigan. You got a little bit of insight into who Will is, who Rattigan is. I don't know if they're going to start calling you Rattigan the Radical.
Radical Rattigan.
Yeah, something along the line. But whatever it is, whatever they call you, as long as they call you for a nice, cool red stripe beer at the end of the day, they can call you whatever. But
Yeah,
I
I'm fine with name calling. I'm fine with it, man. I've been called worse things. Yeah, I've been called
been
things I
called
can't
worse
even
things by better people.
I'm worse people by all people, Yeah. So I'm fine with it, man. I'm thick skinned. I'm good with it.
All right. Well, looking forward to hearing this discussion tomorrow as it
Okay.
addresses the law enforcement in Jamaica and their abilities to perform their tasks.
Okay.
And that and many more to come. I appreciate
You
of you
got it.
taking the time out, Will, to reason with us, to introduce yourself to us on
Pleasure
Night
was
Shift to
all
DJ
mine.
Kevin Stew.
Pleasure was all mine, Kevin. Thanks a lot.
All right. We talk in the morning because we need to make sure get those tests done and make sure your connection is straight.
For
All right.
sure. All right, my brother.
All right. Much love.
Be well. Bye
All right.
bye.
Blessings. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Reason with Rattigan. Wil Rattigan as our guest tonight. And yeah, what a talk, right? What a talk. We're parting company right now, and as we part company, in the background, the sound of Cesar, track called Morning in Gideon. I want people to really pay attention to what will be happening on this broadcast, Reason with Rattigan. Because as he addresses issues in Jamaica, understand that it will spread across geographical lines. And the same thing that he is trying to accomplish in the beginning stages here with this broadcast in Jamaica, it can happen anywhere, because the structure is pretty much, if not the same, is very similar. And so information is supposed to be available to people in a democratic society. And so once you live in such, you should be able to have access to this kind of information. And if how it is that you're living is not really working out the way that it should be, then you need to do something about it. So go ahead and take steps. And it's not about revolting or anything like that. No. It's about holding people accountable and taking the high road. And when you hold people accountable, now they have to present themselves. And if they don't do what you put them in place to do, then they need to come out. And remember, we the people, we have the power. So use your power. Use it wisely. My name is Kevin Stew. This is how I'm going to part company with you tonight. Do remember to look out for members of your community, and remember, your community is not just the development that you live in, but it spreads far and wide. So those that you pass on the bus, the plane, the boat, the train, whether you walk, ride, or drive, these are members of your community. Do something good for one of them today, because you never know who's going to do something good for you tomorrow. Thank you to my affiliates all over the globe: One Harmony Radio, Island Worldwide, NIE Radio, Reggae Pulse Radio, Foundation Radio Network, ClintonLindsay.com, Zeno FM, PEMG TV, WGLRO, Oliwap Radio, Dusik Media Group. Thank you. Truly appreciate of you. Take care until we do it again. Blessings to you. Good night. Greetings and salutations, one and all. You're invited to tune in to the Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It airs on Mondays with Community and Finance, Tuesdays with Healthy Love, and Wednesdays with Real Talk from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Come spend some time interacting in the stew pot, where we keep things bubbling and wind down in musical therapy. The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew is on kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.